Waitress revealed a hidden truth to the billionaire, transforming his life and a 100M deal. In the heart of Millsbury, Iowa, the walls of the cozy corner diner held more than the smell of fresh coffee and sizzling bacon. They held the stories of the townsfolk, woven together like an old quilt. And there was Emma, 28, bustling between faded red booths, balancing trays stacked high with burgers and steaming mugs. Her laughter mingled with the clatter of dishes, yet her eyes whispered tales of worry and unfulfilled dreams. She was a caretaker, a daughter, and a fighter, her mother's long battle with cancer hanging heavy on her heart. As lunchtime rush took over, Emma juggled orders, her mind a flurry of numbers and daily specials. When the sleek black car glided to a stop outside the diner, its shine contrasting sharply with the worn-out diner sign. The door swung open, and in walked Jack, a billionaire CEO whose name was synonymous with ruthless deals and cold boardroom decisions. The chatter hushed, eyes darting toward him, the kind of man who belonged in a world far removed from this small-town diner. "Coffee," he ordered, his voice low and serious. Emma regained her composure, slipping into her waitress persona, but something in the air shifted. She took the moment to breathe, letting the weight of his presence settle around them like thick fog. Coming right up, she smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes as she poured coffee. She felt an unexpected impulse bubbling inside her. "You know," she began, each word a stepping stone against her fears, "this diner has been my family's lifeline. My mom isn't doing well, and I'm doing everything I can to keep this place open." Jack's brow furrowed, his interest piqued. Amid the chatter of fryers and clinking cutlery, he leaned in, listening intently as she painted the picture of struggle. She spoke of unpaid bills, dwindling customers, and her dreams of nursing flickering like a candle in a storm. Her heart wrenched as she detailed the pull of responsibility and the longing for a different life. "I don't want to lose her or this diner," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. It was vulnerability laid bare, and Jack found himself entranced by this woman who carried the weight of the world with such grace. As he took a sip of his coffee, something in Jack stirred. Wealth had never brought him happiness. He felt a heavy emptiness coursing through him, the facade of success cracking under Emma's raw honesty. Her conviction ignited a thought he could barely grasp. What if all his numbers and deals meant nothing without heart? Suddenly, the announcement crackled over the diner's speakers, news that sent shockwaves of dread through Emma's heart. The diner faced closure due to unpaid taxes. The fabric of her hopes felt frayed and thin. Jack watched the flicker of despair cross her face, and in that moment, the line between his world and hers blurred. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Just as Jack wrestled with his own thoughts, torn between pursuing yet another lucrative deal or investing in something that truly mattered, something rooted in love and community, he knew he had a choice to make. The weight of Emma's truth weighed heavily on him as he glanced back at her, hurriedly clearing tables. The storm outside mirrored the turmoil within him. Would he risk everything for the heart of a small-town diner and a waitress with dreams? As he drove away, dark clouds rolling overhead, the question lingered. Would he redefine what success truly meant, or retreat back into the cold embrace of wealth, leaving Emma's hopes to fade away like the sunlight? The answer hung in the air, along with the aroma of coffee and the warmth of community, a tantalizing cliffhanger that beckoned him back. The next morning, the rain drizzled down in silvery streaks, coating Millsbury in a shroud of gray. Inside the cozy corner diner, the usual hum of conversation mingled with the patter on the roof. But today, it felt like an echo of lost hopes. Emma stood behind the counter, eyes red from sleepless nights and worry. She poured coffee with mechanical precision, her mind drifting back to the tension-filled moment with Jack. What could he possibly do to help her? She knew he had the power to change everything with just a phone call, but the thought of asking felt overwhelming. Self-doubt crept in like a thief in the night. Did she have the right to reach out to him? The diner clock ticked mockingly, a reminder that time was slipping away. The threat of closure loomed larger than ever. Her mom had always said, "You never know until you try." That thought stirred a spark deep inside her. Maybe, just maybe, if she put herself out there, it might open a door she never knew existed. Emma grabbed her phone, her hands trembling as she scrolled through her contact list until she found the unfamiliar number. Jack's name felt like an anchor in her uncertainty. Just then, the sound of a bell jingled at the door, and the atmosphere shifted. She looked up, and there he was. Jack stood against the backdrop of swirling rain, his silhouette framed by the diner's bright neon lights. He stepped inside, wiping raindrops from his brow, and the tension shifted once again. She could see determination etched across his face, mingled with something softer, perhaps hope. Emma's heart raced. "Hey," he said, his voice cutting through the diner's din. "I'd like to talk." She nodded, feeling a rush of warmth ignite within her. They moved to a secluded booth in the back, where the chatter of the diner faded into the background. Jack leaned forward, sincerity glowing in his eyes. "I couldn't stop thinking about what you said yesterday," he began, resting his hands on the table. "I can't just let this diner slip away. I want to help." Emma blinked, fighting disbelief. Help? The concept felt surreal. But how? She stammered, expectant doubt weaving through her thoughts. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he replied simply. "I know you care deeply about this place and the people in it. That means something to me." The sincerity in his voice made her heart flutter. "But I can't ask you to do anything. The diner is just my mom's dream. It's not worth a billionaire's time." Jack's expression hardened. "You're wrong. It's worth every bit of my time." His gaze softened. "I believe in second chances, Emma. Let us talk numbers." Her pulse quickened. This was it, a chance, however unlikely, to save everything she held dear. They discussed the diner's financial woes, the looming threat that felt so suffocating. As Jack scribbled notes on a napkin, Emma felt waves of excitement mixed with caution. What if this was real? What if he truly wanted to help? Yet, lurking beneath that hope was another fear. What if he saw this as a mere business opportunity? As the conversation flowed, Jack leaned back, a thoughtful expression on his face. "What if we turn next month's potential losses into a community event? We could raise funds, increase visibility, create something special." Emma blinked. The idea spun in her mind like a pinwheel. Could work. But could she trust him? Before she could respond, the front door swung open, and an unexpected group flooded in, a crowd of local townspeople, drawn by the familiar comfort of the cozy corner. They didn't know about the troubles brewing in the diner, but instead looked eager to connect. Jack noticed too, meeting her gaze. "This is what you've been fighting for, isn't it? This community, this support." Just then, laughter erupted in the diner, easing the tension in Emma's chest. She felt her spirit lift, the realization settling. This wasn't just about her battle anymore. The door to change stood ajar, ready to burst wide open. But in the depths of her heart, doubts lingered, whispering their intentions. Would they work together? Could she really let someone like Jack into her world? The aroma of fresh coffee filled the air, punctuating the moment with hopeful anticipation. As Emma stood at the precipice of transformation, one question loomed larger than the rest. Was she ready to embrace a life beyond mere survival? The answer seemed just within reach, but it was Jack's next words that would truly determine their destiny. Laughter and chatter swirled around Emma and Jack as the crowd settled in, their faces lit with the kind of warmth that melted the gray gloom outside. Emma took a deep breath, letting the energy of the diner buoy her spirits. But still, she felt a tremor of uncertainty deep in her chest. Jack's gaze caught hers, waiting expectantly for her response, and she could sense the weight of the moment, a crossroads of sorts, not just for the diner, but for them both. "An event?" she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You really think it could work?" Jack's expression brightened. Absolutely. Imagine this place filled with regulars, old faces and new, all coming together for a good cause, your mom's cause. We could advertise it as a Save Cozy Corner Day. It would drum up community support like nothing else. Emma felt her heart flutter. And what would we need to do? I mean, it sounds incredible, but we'll brainstorm ideas. Collaborate, Jack assured her, barely suppressing his enthusiasm. Food specials, maybe even a local band or some activities for kids. We'll rally the town. But what if they don't show up? Emma's voice wavered, fear creeping back in like a shadow. What if it doesn't work? Jack leaned closer, his intensity unabated. But what if it does? This diner holds so much history, memories for so many people. They want to help. You just have to believe in them and in yourself. As the words sank in, Emma felt her resolve strengthen like fresh steel. Could it really be that simple? Could faith spark change? Just then, a familiar face appeared at the counter. Mrs. Henderson, the elderly lady who lived down the street. Emma, darling, Mrs. Henderson called out, her voice slicing through the noise. That coffee is just divine today. I can't get enough. Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. Emma smiled warmly, her spirits lifted by the compliment. Each voice in here resonated with feeling, and the memories of past laughter and tears tinged the moment with magic. Turning towards Jack, she saw his admiration flicker as he observed the interaction. She fought back a smile, her cheeks warming slightly under his gaze. You're right, Emma murmured, a deeper certainty growing within. Outside, the rain began to lighten, revealing patches of blue that fought to shine through the gray. It was as if the heavens were echoing Emma's renewed spirit. Let us do it, she said, a mixture of fear and excitement bubbling in her stomach. Let us plan the event. Jack grinned, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. Yes, this is the start of something beautiful. They threw ideas back and forth, the initial fears melting away as Emma felt the tangible possibility of success. With every plan they outlined, she could see the glimmers of hope shining brighter. But just as their vision grew clearer, a cloud of doubt loomed nearby. Was she truly ready for this? Jack's phone buzzed on the table, interrupting their exuberance. He glanced at the screen, brow furrowing slightly, then looked back at her. Sorry, I have to take this, he said. Standing up as he walked a few steps away, Emma's heart clenched. Was he about to get news that might change everything? She watched him from afar, seeing him engrossed in the call, planted firmly against the diner's backdrop. What if this was just a distraction, a momentary push before slipping away? Feeling a rush of determination, Emma stepped closer, ready to merge their ideas into action. She resolved to make this event the showcase it deserved to be. No matter the outcome, it would be a community effort. But as she turned her gaze back to Jack, he ended his call and seemed more serious than before. Emma, I've just gotten some news. Her stomach dropped, anticipation hanging in the air like charged electricity. What was he about to reveal? She had shared a piece of her heart. But could he share a piece of his? In that split second, uncertainty flooded her with the urgency of needing to know a truth that could change everything. Emma swallowed hard, pulse racing, and whispered barely above audibly, "What is it?" Jack ran a hand through his hair, his eyes clouded with contemplation. "It's about my dad," he began, the heaviness of the words weighing down the air between them. "I just got off the phone with his assistant. He's coming back to town." Emma's breath hitched in her throat. Jack's father had been something of a ghost in their lives, a figure whispered about but rarely mentioned openly, especially during dinners filled with laughter. "Coming back after all this time?" "Yeah," Jack said, taking a slow breath as if the very admission burned. "He wants to meet. He wants to talk about the family business." Emma's heart ached with the uncertainty etched into Jack's features. She'd seen him wrestle with his past, the distance from his dad like a chasm too wide to bridge. "What do you think he wants?" she asked gently, a mix of concern and curiosity flooding her senses. "He probably wants to convince me to come back, the whole take over the family business thing again," Jack said, his jaw tightening. "But I don't know if I can or if I want to." "What do you mean? You've built this life here, you're doing something good." Emma urged, her heart racing. You can't just throw that away. Jack shook his head, running his fingers along the table's edge. It's never been that simple. He sees me as just an extension of the business, never as myself, he said, vulnerability creeping into his voice. And I can't help but feel lost. Emma's heart ached for him. She stepped closer, her hand seeking his, grounding him in the moment. You're not lost, Jack. You're right here with us, people who care about you. His eyes met hers, searching for reassurance. The connection hung thick in the air, charged with an understanding that surpassed words. I want to believe that. He admitted softly that a part of Emma wanted to tell him that everything would be fine, but another part knew that change came with uncertainty. Whatever happens, you have me in your corner, she vowed, her grip tightening around his fingers. With this event, we'll rally everyone together. We'll show the community that Cozy Corner is worth saving, not just for your dad, but for all of us. Jack nodded slowly, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. You're right. Focus on the diner. Make it work, and then maybe I can figure out the rest. As they stood together, uncertainty looming around them like storm clouds, the energy in the diner suddenly shifted. The laughter and chatter seemed to fade, replaced by an attentive hush. Emma turned to see the door swing open, and in walked a man in a tailored suit, Jack's father. Time seemed to stand still as Jack's expression transformed, a rush of emotions crossing his face. The air thickened with heavy anticipation. Emma squeezed his hand tighter, the gravity of the moment escalating. Jack, his father called, his voice booming yet uncertain, as if addressing a stranger. Everything felt surreal. A wave of dread mixed with hope washed over Emma. She was just a waitress, but in this moment, she felt like she was standing at the edge of a turning point, not just for herself and Jack, but for the whole diner. What are you going to do? She whispered, the world outside dimming, leaving just the two of them standing on the brink. Jack took a deep breath, the tension vibrating between them. I guess we're about to find out, and with that, the uncertainty of the future loomed larger than ever, rippling through the fabric of their lives as they faced the profound crossroads before them. Jack's heart raced. The buzz of anticipation filled the diner, yet all he could hear was the sound of his father's footsteps approaching. Each step reverberated against his chest as if it were a countdown to something monumental. The warmth of Emma's hand in his steadied him, her presence like a grounding force against the storm inside. Dad, he managed, forcing the word out, even as it felt foreign in his mouth. The man in the suit loomed large, gray hair slicked back, and an expression that swung between authority and unease. Jack's father had always commanded a room, but the bond of familial ties felt distant, frayed by years of avoidance and silence. Can we talk? His father asked, the words heavy with unspoken weight. There was an expectation in his tone, like a man issuing a command wrapped in a plea. Jack opened his mouth, ready to respond, but the words wouldn't form. He looked to Emma. Her eyes held a spark of encouragement, urging him to take this leap. Yeah, let us talk, Jack replied finally, his voice steadier than he felt. As they moved to a booth in the corner, Emma stood back, her heart caught between respect for Jack's space and the desire to support him. She watched as Jack raked a hand through his hair, a familiar gesture of anxiety. Why now? Jack began, eyes narrowing as they met his father's. After all this time, you suddenly want to talk? The elder man shifted in his seat. It's complicated. I've had some time to think, to see things differently. I want to make amends. Amends? Jack scoffed, his hurt bubbling to the surface. You mean you want to drag me back into the business like nothing happened? You think I've built a life just so you can pull me back in? It's not like that, his father countered, the tension rising in his voice. I've seen how passionate you are about this diner. But running a family business means something. You could be great at it, Jack. You could be a pawn in your game. No thanks. Jack shot back, anger mixed with regret. Emma felt the weight of their conversation pressing down on her, the energy in the diner still buzzing with curiosity around them. She could see Jack fighting the urge to bolt. Jack, she called gently, stepping further into their space. Maybe listen to him? Jack threw her a questioning glance, bewildered that she would support his father's sudden appearance. Are you serious? Maybe he has changed, Emma said softly. Or maybe you both can find some kind of closure. It's important. Jack hesitated, his heart battling his pride. It was as if Emma had just shone a light on something deep within him, something he had been denying for far too long. Okay, he said, his voice more composed now. If you want to talk, let us talk. But I'm not leaving this diner. I've worked too hard for it. For a fleeting moment, he caught a glimpse of his father's expression softening, a flicker of understanding passing through the eyes that had always seemed so stern. Jack, save it, Jack interrupted. Let us figure this out together, but on my terms. Before things could spiral into another conflict, Emma interjected, the warmth in her tone radiating sincerity. Let us lay it all out. Start from where it all went wrong. In the midst of the drifting conversations around them, a solid resolve began to bubble up in Jack's chest. Yeah, he agreed, his focus shifting. Let us start from the beginning and maybe we can finally piece together this puzzle. But just as they began to delve into a potential resolution, a commotion disturbed their fragile moment. A couple of regulars peered in their direction, whispers rippling through the diner. "SNT that Jack's dad?" One murmured, incredulous. Jack felt the heat rise in his cheeks, the eyes of the diner weighing down like lead. The past and the present collided in ways he hadn't anticipated, shattering the quiet landscape of their conversation. Jack, we might need to be prepared for more than just our own issues, Emma said, glancing around at the onlookers, concern painting her features. Would their next steps unearth deeper revelations than any of them were ready for? Jack's mind raced, realizing that perhaps the diner was about to become the backdrop of a greater reckoning, a clash of family, legacy, and the choices that defined who they were. What would it mean for Cozy Corner, for him and, most importantly, for the fragile threads of connection he sought after? Are you ready for whatever comes next? Emma murmured, and Jack felt the weight of her words hang in the air between them. Now they would find out just how deep the roots of their past ran and what kind of truth lay buried beneath. Jack's heart thudded in his chest as the murmurs grew louder. The diner, usually a warm cocoon of comfort and familiarity, felt suddenly exposed, like a stage bathed in blinding light. He glanced at his father, whose expression had shifted from determined to something softer, a mix of concern and regret. Can you just— Jack took a deep breath, reining in his racing thoughts. Can you just explain why you're here? Why now? His father took a moment, visibly gathering his thoughts. I've watched you build something from nothing. This diner, it's thriving. I may have underestimated how much it means to you. Jack's grip tightened on the table's edge. It means everything. It's not just a business. It's my life. Exactly, his father pressed, a hint of urgency in his voice. And you've done it without me. But I want to change that. I want to be a part of it, help you expand? Jack interrupted, incredulous. You want to swoop in like a hero? Please don't pretend this is about anything but control. You want your name back on the door. Listen, we can both win, his father insisted. If you let me in, I can bring resources and connections. We can take Cozy Corner to new heights. Anger flickered in Jack's chest, but something about his father's tone gave him pause. He felt Emma's hand reach for his, warm and steady, pulling him back from the edge of an explosive response. He doesn't just want to help himself, she interjected gently. He believes in the diner too. Maybe it's time to rethink your view. This isn't just a game for him. Jack looked back at his dad, searching for a glimmer of truth within the man who had always prioritized his career over family. You think I'll just let you back in without question? Trust is earned, not given. I know, his father replied, sadness creeping into his voice. And I've wasted too much of my life thinking I could fix things with money and power. I can't change the past. All I can do is ask for a chance. What if you hurt me again? Jack's voice cracked, a little vulnerability rising like a bitter tide. What if I put my trust in you again, and it all falls apart? I won't, his father promised, sincerity breaking through. I've missed out on so much. I'm tired of living in the shadows of my own mistakes. I want to be better for you, for this diner, and for myself. The bustling diner started to feel like it was fading away, and for a moment, the noise around them became a distant hum. Jack searched his father's eyes for answers, wrestling with those whispered doubts in his mind. Maybe we can start small, Emma offered, breaking the silence. Let us not rush, just take one step at a time. Discuss some ideas and see how it feels. The tension in the air hung thick, ripe with possibility. Could they truly begin to heal, to build something new from the fragments of their troubled past? All right, Jack murmured at last, the decision proving heavy yet liberating. We'll talk. But this isn't about your plans or my diner, he said emphatically, locking eyes with his father. This is about us. I need to know you're committed to fixing this. Us. Just then, a loud crash reverberated through the diner as a server accidentally knocked over a stack of dishes. The sound jolted Jack out of the moment and brought a ripple of laughter from a table nearby, surprising everyone with its timing. Perfect timing, he said, forcing a smile as the server hurried to clean up, casting anxious glances. Welcome back, cozy corner chaos. But even amid the lightness, Jack felt the weight of the conversation linger, hanging over him like a cloud threatening rain. Would this clumsy moment mark the start of something different? As the diner started to feel more normal again, a slight nervousness crept back in. Would they uncover truths that were better left untouched? What if grudges and unhealed wounds surfaced in their conversations? The flame of hope flickered dimly in Jack's chest, barely holding on against the tide of uncertainty. Could they really unearth what had been buried for so long? Emma leaned closer, whispering, "You're doing the right thing, Jack. Just remember this isn't just about one conversation. It's about the journey ahead." His heart thrummed with anxious anticipation. But now the question lay heavy on his mind. Were they ready to confront the shadows of their past? Or would those shadows end up overwhelming them again? The next step was crucial, and neither of them had any idea just how complicated the path would become. Jack's thoughts drifted as the diner's familiar sounds washed over him. The sizzling grill, the clinking of plates, the chatter of customers, it all felt both comforting and alarming. He could feel his father waiting, searching for words that might bridge the chasm between them but still held back, and it gnawed at Jack. "What if we start with one simple question?" Jack asked, looking directly at his father. "Why did you disappear when I needed you most?" His father flinched, the accusation biting deeper than he could have anticipated. I thought I was doing what was best. I was trying to build a life, a future. A future for who? You? Because you certainly didn't think about me." Jack snapped, anger leaking into his voice. The words, harsh and raw, hung between them. He regretted the tone but felt compelled to speak his truth. "I know." His father's expression tightened. "I can't blame you for feeling that way. But I want an opportunity to show you that I can be better. Not just in business, but as your father." Jack shook his head slowly, as if trying to shake off a fog. "What do I even know about you, Dad? You walked away when it mattered most. Why should I believe you now?" Emma squeezed Jack's hand tighter, grounding him in the tempest of emotions swirling around. She was right, he reminded himself. They needed to step forward, but with caution. Because, his father began again, "I've witnessed your strength and resilience. I'm proud of you, Jack, and I regret not being here to see it. I realize now that family comes first, and I lost sight of that." Jack's heart softened, just a notch. But the walls he'd built felt too important to crumble easily. Pride doesn't fix broken ties. "I know." His father's voice trembled, laden with frustration and humility. "But I want to try. Can we just start with small steps? A lunch every week? Discuss our ideas, our vision?" "It's not just about lunch," Jack muttered, the awkwardness pressing in on him. "This isn't just discovering a business plan. We need to uncover the truth of our past." "I'm willing," his dad insisted, leaning forward, eagerness etched in the delicate lines of his face. "I'll be honest, no more secrets. Let us not repeat the mistakes." Jack studied him closely, searching for the sincerity behind those words. You have no idea how hard this will be, he warned, feeling the heaviness of the moment's gravity. Then let us navigate it together, his father said softly, holding Jack's gaze. I want to learn to be a better father, even if I'm starting late. Jack felt a mixture of fear and hope swirl in his chest. What did it mean to be open? To risk being hurt again or worse, losing trust once more? The cloud of uncertainty loomed as Emma's presence remained a comforting anchor. Whatever you choose, she encouraged, don't forget that you are allowed to prioritize your feelings. Healing takes time. Jack stared down at his untouched coffee, realization settling within him. This was an opportunity for growth, for questions, and perhaps a chance to truly know the man who had once abandoned him. All right, Dad. But you need to understand something. Jack raised his head finally, the weight of his decision behind each word. I will not tolerate any more excuses. This journey starts now. No shortcuts. His father nodded, a mixture of apprehension and relief flooding his features. Understood. Just then, the bell above the entrance jingled, accompanied by laughter as a group of familiar faces stepped in. Jack's old friends from high school, now mostly adults with busy lives, entered the cozy corner, their voices brightening the atmosphere. It was a jarring contrast to the heaviness of the moment. Surprise! One of them shouted, grinning from ear to ear. Jack's heart raced. Faces were smiling, and for the first time, he felt the warmth of familiarity fill the diner again. Could this moment somehow patch the past while ushering in a new beginning? But as their eyes fell on him, one question loomed in the air. Could he truly unveil the truth without shattering everything he held dear: family, friendships, and the balance he fought so hard to maintain? The look on his father's face, hopeful yet wary, mirrored Jack's own internal turmoil. For now, the path stretched ahead, filled with promise and obstacles alike. What awaited them in the coming days? The uncertainty gnawed at him like a powerful current, threatening to pull him under. Jack's heart pounded as his friends made their way towards his booth, laughter vibrant and alive, contrasting deeply with the earlier tension. He felt like a deer caught in headlights, unsure of whether to smile or retreat. Look at you, Jack. We thought you'd gone into hiding. Mike, his childhood best friend, laughed, slapping Jack on the back so hard he nearly toppled his coffee cup. Yeah, hiding under the weight of all this, Jack said, gesturing to his father. The joke did little to alleviate the tightness in his chest. Jack swallowed hard, his father sitting there, poised and uncertain, as if caught between two worlds: the past he wished to rewrite and the present he was just stepping into. Are you ever going to come join us at the bar again? Asked Sarah, a flare of excitement in her voice. Her blonde hair bounced as she looked at him, her hazel eyes shining. We have a karaoke night set up for next week. You've got to come sing with us, man. A flicker of a smile crossed Jack's face, then vanished. Maybe he hesitated, glancing at his father. I'm sort of busy. Busy with what? More work? You've always been such a workaholic. Mike chimed in, his voice almost teasing. Do you ever let loose? You've got to live a little. Yeah, well, maybe that's what I need, Jack muttered, his mind racing. Did he really want to step back into their world while unearthing all these deep-seated feelings? Sarah's expression softened. You okay? You seem a little off. Before Jack could answer, his father interjected. He's just navigating some changes. The way his father said it made Jack's skin crawl. It felt like a veiled warning or a discarded excuse. I get it, Sarah said, studying Jack. But remember, you're not obligated to carry it all yourself. Friends are here to help. The sincerity in her tone cut through Jack's defenses, easing his tension. He took a breath, allowing the warmth of their presence to sink in before he responded. Thanks. Really. I'm just trying to figure things out. Life's messy. Mike shrugged, clapping him on the shoulder again. But that's what makes the good times even better, right? Just don't forget where you came from. Yeah, I won tea, Jack murmured, looking towards the window, the world blurring outside. A sudden uncomfortable silence settled as they studied Jack. Their excitement, the laughter, seemed to bang against the wall he built. And then it dawned on him his friends were part of the life he had missed. They represented the moments he should have had with his father, the memories lost. Would they still want him if the truth about his family came crashing down? Jack, his father said quietly, drawing him back. I'd like to talk to you alone, maybe after the group leaves? Jack interrupted, a plea wrapped in tension. The look on his father's face faltered ever so slightly, a silent acknowledgement of the chasm still between them. Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they were both filled with unspoken fears, hidden motivations competing for the surface. As the laughter resumed, Jack sought Emma's gaze. She was watching him, her eyes soft and assuring. Her presence was a reminder of who he wanted to be. I think I'm going to join them for a bit, he said, just to breathe. He pushed past the booth, urgency propelling him as he joined his friends, who welcomed him with high fives and laughter. Somewhere beneath the surface, though, the clash of unresolved emotions stirred. As conversations flowed, Jack felt part of the old rhythm. He joined in the jokes and laughter, even offered a few offbeat impressions, and for a glorious moment he forgot. He forgot how cracked everything felt moments ago. Yet, the memory of his father's hopeful eyes hovered at the edges of his thoughts, the promise of connection lurking. What would be their next step? Would uncovering the truth lead them to inevitable rupture or unexpected healing? The laughter faded slightly as doubts crept back in, casting shadows on their reunion. Jack caught a glimpse of his father, still at the booth, hands clasped anxiously as he watched an image that signaled both hope and fear. That uneasy stir returned. How could he enjoy this moment around old friends while holding a world of pressing truths just below the surface? And just then, a voice Jack hadn't heard in years pierced through the diner's atmosphere, causing his heart to leap. It was his mother, standing at the entrance, eyes wide, breathless, a look of revelation on her face. Had the past come to confront him? Was this the moment that finally shattered the world he struggled to keep intact? Jack literally stumbled back a step when he saw her. The woman who had spent years haunting his childhood memories now stood at the doorway of the diner, her shadow stretching across the linoleum floor. Instinctively, his mind raced to every moment he could recall, every argument, every tear, every claustrophobic silence that had followed. Mom? The word slipped from his lips, barely a whisper. His friends paused, eyes wide with confusion. The laughter died, replaced by an electric tension that thrummed through the air. All eyes turned toward her, each person holding their breath, as if waiting for a storm to break. Jack, she breathed, her voice shaky, filled with unsteady emotion. For the first time in years, he saw something resembling vulnerability in her, the fortification of his memories dissolving. He glanced back at his father, who was now rigid in the booth, jaw clenched, as though he were trying to hold back a floodgate of unshed words. Everything in Jack screamed to turn away, to retreat into the comfort of his friends, the laughter, the ease of their companionship, but he felt inexplicably anchored to that spot, an alarm ringing in his heart. Where have you been? The question came out sharper than he intended, laced with hurt. It echoed around the diner, more pointed than he had meant it to be. I didn't know how to come back, she stammered, searching Jack's face for understanding. Her hands trembled, caught between reassurance and anxiety, as if physically manifesting the burden of her absence. In the crowd of familiar faces, his friends remained still, observers caught in a tempest, unsure of how to move forward. At the sound of his mother's familiar voice, an old pain rippled through him, the longing for the day when laughter hadn't felt so hollow. You could have just called, We could have worked things out. I tried. She interrupted, tears glistening in her eyes. You were gone. I was scared. I thought it was best for everyone if I best for everyone. He couldn't keep the edge out of his voice, the floodgates of hurt pressing hard against his resolve. Best for you, you mean? Just then, Mike, who had been standing by, shifted nervously, stepping toward Jack. Hey man, maybe you should just take a breath. This isn't. It is, Jack shot back, feeling the weight of his unresolved feelings tip over, like a broken dam. The diner's atmosphere thickened, the air heavy with unspoken words and unaddressed desires. Jack's heart beat like an anxious drum, echoing his uncertainty. Everything inside him screamed to scream, to unleash years of pent-up frustration. But he was also afraid. Afraid of what this conversation could uncover. Afraid of where it might lead. The tension was palpable as Jack and his mother stood there, entire worlds living in the space between them. Shadows of loss, resentment, and maybe something deeper floated in the air like the specks of dust caught in the sunlight filtering through the window. In a fraction of a second, Jack's world spun. Who was he supposed to be in this moment? The son? The wounded child? The man tired of old secrets? Jack, please, his mother pleaded, taking a step forward. We need to talk. And then the memories of laughter, warmth, family, they all crashed down on him, each moment flashing like strobe lights in his mind. Maybe the truths he feared could lead to a calm after the storm. Thickening silence encircled them, compressing time until nothing else existed but the two of them. Why now? Jack whispered, his voice breaking. What changed? Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and for the first time in years, he felt an inkling of hope intertwined with fear. Would this be the moment to mend what had been broken? Or would it shatter everything he thought he knew about family, love, and the very roots of who he was? As sorrow and hope danced in the air, he took a shaky breath, and just as he prepared to step into this conversation, realization cracked through his mind. This wouldn't just decide their fate, but could change everything. Just come sit and talk, he urged, heart pounding. But know that this isn't going to be easy. As they moved toward a booth, whispers bounced through the diner. Friends exchanged incredulous glances, their world reshaping just outside the walls of this long-held silence. Jack, she started, but the realization started to sink in. The complexity of the moment felt thick enough to cut. Do we even know who we really are anymore? He murmured, the question heavy yet liberating, paving the way for a conversation they both had avoided for too long. As he settled into that pivotal moment, for the first time in years, Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. Where would this revelation lead them next? Jack sat down across from his mother, the weight of years pressing against them like the thick, humid air right before a storm. The noise of the diner faded to a dull roar as he locked eyes with her, searching for the reassurance he desperately wanted to feel but doubted would come. Why now? He asked again, vulnerability cracking through the bravado he'd held onto for so long. What made you decide to come back after all this time? I never meant to leave. I thought it would be easier for you. For us, she began, her voice quivering. The pain in her eyes felt achingly familiar, a reflection of the hurt he carried himself. Easier? You left. You left me with Dad while you went off to find yourself or whatever excuse you had. The longing to lash out battled with the need for connection, as the tension stirred his spirit into a whirlwind of confusion. I was lost, Jack. I thought I was protecting you from my chaos. Protecting me? He said, incredulity seeping through. You were the chaos. Jack felt anger bubbling over. Yet in this moment, he realized he wasn't just upset. He was terrified. Terrified of opening those floodgates that held all the unsaid words, the experiences he had buried deep, and what it might mean for his mom and their relationship moving forward. A soft silence fell around them, and for a moment, Jack took in the swirls of the diner, patrons lost in their own conversations, unaware of the emotional earthquake happening in that corner booth. Then, blushing slightly, his mother reached across the table, her hand trembling. I can't change what happened, but I want to be here now. Can we try to figure out how to do that together? For someone who wants to connect, you don't seem to understand how hard that is for me, Jack replied coolly, but his tone softened. What do I even say? It's like I'm talking to a stranger. I may have been gone, Jack, but I've thought of you every day. Empty pain kept me away more than anything else. I see you building something impactful here. You haven't just survived, you've thrived. Jack felt a flicker of warmth begin to thaw the icy grip around his heart, but anxiety rushed in to fill the space. Mom, I'm not sure you understand how much I've had to fight for every piece of this diner. It's not just a business to me, it's all I have left of the life we built. I understand more than you know, and I am so proud of you. But I also know I need to be honest with you. she said, her voice steady now, conviction in her eyes. I came back not just for you but for myself too. I've been working through my own difficulties, and I want to share that with you. Jack anticipated the questions, the doubts swirling in his mind, but he hated that part of him hungered for her approval. Then share it with me, he urged, each word weighted deeper than the last. Tell me what you've been through. Tears streamed down her face, cascading over the years of lost time. I didn't know how to be a mother and still be me. I thought you deserved better than my baggage, but all I did was run away. It's not that simple, he countered, launch himself into the uncertainty. You can't just expect me to forgive you overnight. We have scars, deep ones. I'm not asking for easy, she said, determination flashing in her eyes. I am asking you to let me try. Let me learn to be the mother you needed. And how do I know it won't hurt again? He pressed on, the raw vulnerability both terrifying and liberating. He hadn't had the luxury of talking this way before, had buried it all beneath burdens of resentment and loss. Because I want to show you that I care now more than ever, she whispered, reaching for his hand. Jack hesitated but eventually allowed her fingers to interlace with his. The warmth flooding through felt simultaneously confusing and right. The noise of the diner pulsed around them, a comforting reminder of togetherness, but in that moment, all that mattered was the connection forming before him. Hope intertwined with years of heartache, the potential for foregone moments laced in quiet whispers between mother and son. I want to move forward with you. Can we take small steps? She asked softly, squeezing his hand. The tension began to fade as Jack breathed in deeply. For the first time, he felt a fragile sense of control in all the raw, messy emotions swirling within him. It wouldn't be easy, but perhaps taking those small steps forward with his mother was the first act of bravery for both of them. Okay, we can try, he said finally, his voice steady. But it has to be real. No more running away. Agreed. Her eyes carried a glimmer of hope as the weight of years began to lift, if only slightly. As they slowly began to discuss the past and navigate their strained relationship, laughter a few booths away broke through, filling the air with warmth. Jack glanced over to see Emma, who had faith in them both, her radiant smile lighting up the room. With her unwavering support, maybe, just maybe, they could find their way home. As Jack's friends drew near to check on him, he felt both nervous and grateful, an unexpected mixture of emotions spinning through him. He had taken the first step, but it wouldn't be the last. There were many conversations ahead, encounters filled with laughter, wounds to heal, and memories to create together. And even though uncertainty loomed still, something felt solid within him, a blossoming understanding that family, however imperfect, could always begin again. Now was the time. For Jack, for his mom, for the diner, it was the dawn of a new chapter rooted in promise. Life didn't come without its storms, but within each gust, there existed the potential for clarity and light. And that's where Jack chose to stand. A place where truth became the guiding thread towards healing, towards stronger bonds, and ultimately a new beginning. Now, if you've been touched by this story, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive tales filled with transformation. Hit that like button now, do it to feed the algorithm and help create a community built on hope. Share your thoughts in the comments. How did this ending impact you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You are part of this journey, and together we can shape the future.